Well, hello everyone, welcome to Coding 101. In today's episode of Coding 101, we are going to be grading marks for students. So these gradings might not be exactly how they are in your school or your university or anything like that, but I'm just hoping you're gonna just get the gist of it all. So let's say if a student got 25 or less, it's an E. If a student got something from 26 to 50, it's a D. If a student got something from 51 to a 70, it's a C. If a student got something from 71 to an 80, it's a D. If a student got something from 81 to 100, those geeky ones like me or not like me, it's an A. So the gist of this entire function is conditional statements. So we are going to be creating if and if else statements a lot in this kind of a question. So that's the thing that should pop out of your mind when you read something like this, is that it's a conditional statement kind of question. So we're going to be using either switch or if statements. So we're going to use if statements. I'm going to teach you how to do switch statements sooner or later in this tutorial. Well, not in this particular tutorial, but in the tutorials to come, I'm going to teach you how to do it. So for now, let's just use if statements. We're going to use if statements and inequalities to grade the marks for students. So let's start from like the top, and it says if a student got 81, so if the mark is equal to, oh sorry, is greater or equal to 81, and the mark is less than 100, less than or equal to 100, then what happens? Then you return A, right? That's exactly how it's done. And then the second part of our else if statement, so else if the mark is greater or equal to 71 and the mark is less than or equal to 80, then what happens? You return B. Else if, so this is pretty much the entirety of the question, like what we're going to be doing throughout this function, just creating these if statements. Equals to 70, then return, what do we return? C. So else if the mark is greater or equal to 26, and the marks is less than 50, right? Less than or equal to 50, what happens? You return D. Else what happens? Let's create an else if statement for this part, because you just never know. A user can just put in an out of bounds number, and we just want to tell him or her that the number that you've entered is not correct. So we're just gonna say mark is greater or equals to 0 and mark is less than or equals to 25, and just return E. And for every other number that is not in here, that is not listed in the conditional statement, we just want to say return out of bounds. And we just write out of bounds. Let's just write mark out of bounds. Okay, just to indicate to the user that they have entered an sort of like an incorrect mark. So we just cancel this return statement because it's not going to be reached anyway. And so we're just going to test this. Just going to put 50 there. And what should it give us? It should give us a D. So let's see. And there you go. And let's try and put in like a let's say -2, something like that. That's an error, of course. It should give us out of bounds, mark out of bounds. So I don't even see the need of me doing it, Python, because I think you understand how you're doing it, how you're supposed to do it. But because I have put it up to myself to do it, I'm gonna do it. So if mark is greater or equals to 81 and mark is less than or equal to 100, then return a. Then if elif, remember that's elif, mark is greater or equals to 71 and mark is less than or equals to 80, return C. Elif mark is greater or equal to 51 and mark is less than, so we forgot to put like an equal sign over here, less than or equal to what is that, 70, right? 70, then return, what do you return? Return you're supposed to return C here and you're supposed to return B over there, and then elif mark is greater or equals to 26 equals to 50 over here. Then what do? You return a D. Elif mark is greater or equal to 0 and mark is less than or equal to 25. Return E. Else return out of bounds. So this is how you do it in Python. Let's test it. Put 5 over here. Oh, we forgot to put like a parameter, like mark. Sorry about that. Grading. This is why it's important to always check your work before you submit it. Oh my goodness. Grading marks. There you go. Grading marks. I'm gonna put a -3 there, and it says mark out of bounds. Though with a couple of errors, but then you can definitely see how this is done in Python. and in Java. Please make sure you subscribe and make sure you leave a comment on the comment section. This was a bit longer than I had anticipated, but I feel like we've learned a lot about conditional statements. I'm gonna be doing a tutorial on the switch statement very soon, so watch out for that. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any video, and make sure you leave a comment in the comment section. If there's any exercise that you would want me to tackle, please leave it on the comment section. I would be happy to tackle that exercise for you. Even if it is an assignment from school or stuff like that, I'd be happy to do that because I just enjoy programming. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching. See you next time on Coding 101.